Cheers! And how you do, buckaroos? And how the heck are you? I tried to hit start, and then it didn't start on me. I don't know how many times that I've started a video and I've drank about half the beer before I realized I hadn't really started. So then I've got to go back and do it again. Anyway, hey, Moose brought me some beer here from North Carolina, right? This is from North Carolina. See if I can get my eyes to focus in on this. Let me show you the label here real good. The Event Horizon Imperial Stout, ale brewed with honey and aged in bourbon barrels. North Carolina. I was looking for the ABV on it. Oh, there it is. 8.5%. Bottling date 11/22/17. So it was a late bottling last year. It's an Imperial Stout, so a beer like this you could sit on for. Well, I mean, this was we're about 6 months out from there. 7 months.
Yeah,
7 months. Anyway, a beer like this, I mean, is going to get better the longer it sits. You could sit on this beer realistically at least a year, probably up to 3, maybe even 5. But I like to stay in that 1 to 3 area personally. But hey, do whatever you want. No sweat off my balls. Anyway, the Event Horizon is the point of no return. Once you have entered the realm of this supermassive Imperial Stout, you are there for good. The cosmically heavy body sucks you in. It's unfathomably deep and black, tasting of rich coffee and chocolate. The faint twinkle, just a suggestion. Anyway, get a little pretentious on it. The faint twinkle, that's the twinkle in your eye. Anyway, of honey, I lost myself for a second. Let me find myself. Of honey is the last sensation you experience before the taste of bourbon washes over you with notes of cracked nuts, vanilla bean. Sorry, prepare to have your tongue spaghettified, whatever the hell that means. I'm going to have to look up spaghettified now. Anyway, 8.5%. They don't list IBUs, but doesn't matter. No, not a beer like this. Not in my opinion. Anyway, so thanks, Greg, for bringing this to me.
You're welcome. Very
so
welcome.
Let's see if we're getting the same nose here. So I get a fair amount of roasted barley. Now they tell you what, it's brewed with honey aged in bourbon barrels. I feel a lot of, you smell a lot of bourbon, don't you? Tell me it's not just me.
Oh, no, I taste the bourbon, but...
On the nose? You feel bourbon on the nose?
Yeah, a little. Especially right after we opened it. So there's what spaghettification means.
What does spaghettification mean? He looked that up for me. In astrophysics, spaghettification, sometimes referred to as the noodle effect, is the vertical stretching and horizontal compression of objects into long, thin shapes. Rather like spaghetti. Well, that makes sense, man. We're going to get deep here. We're going to get existential up on your ass here at the Beer Whisperer Pub. Anyway, in a very strong, non-homogeneous gravitational field is caused by extreme tidal force. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know how it applies, but...
So back to the nose. I certainly feel some vanilla on the nose. I certainly feel some great big toffee, assuming is coming from the bourbon. I also feel like I'm getting just a hint of cocoa there from the malts. And I'm feeling it more of cocoa than chocolate, if that makes sense to anybody out there. Or like a baking cocoa than a bar chocolate is what I'm trying to get at on the nose. Flavors, wow. Oh, wow. So I poured, I didn't pour all of it. He brought me a couple beers, but he wanted, his friend is a big fan of this beer, so he wanted to drink this one with me. But I didn't want it to get away without doing a short video, so I'm not going to go long, but I want to cover some of these notes here. So initially, I get a lot of, certainly some vanilla in there, and you're going to feel bourbon all the way through it, but I get a lot of toffee. Are you feeling toffee in there, like a nutty, it's a nutty toffee?
Yeah, I'm feeling nutty.
I'm going to say like a hazelnut kind of feel. Again, much like the nose, I get that hint of cocoa, but on the nose, Whereas I get it right up front, I get the cocoa right near the end. I certainly feel some toffee, more so than caramel, a whole lot of vanilla, but the vanilla, again, is more towards the end. It is a tad boozy, but not too much so. And truthfully, for me, if I'm drinking something that has bourbon on the label, I want it to feel just a little boozy. I want to know I'm drinking bourbon, or that it actually was in that barrel and didn't just pass by it and they called it a bourbon barrel, because we've all had those beers. So, yeah, it is a little boozy, but it's not off-putting boozy.
That I thoroughly agree with.
Yeah, that's gorgeous. That'd be almost like taking your favorite bourbon and 1, 2, 3, 4. Damn it! Taking your favorite bourbon and dropping it into your favorite Imperial Stout for a Boilermaker. That's what this tastes like to me. And it's absolutely brilliant. So there you go. I haven't had this. The only beer that I've ever had from this brewery, Olde Hickory. You were there at the brewery, but you had a different beer?
No, I was not at the brewery.
You were at this one? Oh,
no.
Okay. The Event Horizon Imperial Stout Ale brewed with, well, now I have to get to North Carolina. I've had several friends mention that I need to get there. So one of these days, I will be in a situation where I can. So I want to thank Greg Moose for bringing this one to me. It's nice to have beer friends. I am Donna Beer Whisperer. Beer evangelist, prolific beer drinker, pervert wisdom, and all around.
I don't have a saying.
You know, you're supposed to say good guy.
Oh.
One more time. Take two.
Greg.
I'm Tony Beer Whisperer. Beer evangelist, prolific beer drinker, pervert wisdom man.
And Greg Rainier, all around good guy.
You're just supposed to say all around good guy.
Okay.
He plays along like a monkey humping a football, doesn't he? All around good guy. Me and Moose, man. We'll talk to you later. Buckaroos, I'm back. Sometimes I have to do an amendment because I noticed something after we turned the camera off. I'd already had this poured for a little bit before we started the video, so you didn't get to see this head, but I wanted to show you that color of head. That's what I want to see in Imperial Stout. Some of them are kind of that lighter, almost like, looks like a whipped milk chocolate kind of. This has got that nice dark chocolate. Excuse me. Beer's working. Hope I didn't get any on you. Anyways, and what was the other? I mentioned about some bourbon barrel stouts being underwhelming. You know, they're not quite getting. They say bourbon barrel, but you don't taste those bourbon notes. But sometimes the opposite happens, where you get overwhelmed that they spent too much time in the barrel and it gets harsh and it kills the original beer. You still want to be able to taste Imperial Stout, but you want to know it's actually been in a bourbon barrel. And for me, this one hits the right balance.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah.
It's not overpowering because I'm not a big whiskey guy, and sometimes they're just too much.
That's right. I forgot about that. You're not a whiskey guy.
No.
See, I am a whiskey guy, so anything in a bourbon barrel, but I forgot about that. See, the Old Tom Porter was that other one that you really liked too.
Right.
Because it had that right balance.
Right. And this one just has the hint of the whiskey, and it's not overpowering.
But enough where you know it's whiskey
been in it. Yeah.
Anyway, there you go. One last time, I'm Dr. Beer Whisperer, Beer Evangelist, prolific drinker, pervert wisdom man.
And Moose, all around good guy.
Get it again. Time of feeling I had to come back on it because as we got, there was a little more in the bottle, and I poured us each a little more, and as we let this warm up, we both noticed that, again, more flavors and more aromas came out, right?
Yes.
And what I noticed specifically, not putting words in Greg's mouth, but for me specifically, I noticed the more sweetness come out. And it is rather viscous, but it's not overly so. It is brewed with honey, so you do feel some honey notes. But I also feel like a molasses brown sugar note in there. Are you getting that as well?
Yeah, I definitely more sweeter than it was originally.
Yeah, because I was feeling more of I was feeling some toffee, but not in a sweet way. But now in the finish, you really get a lot of that big sweetness, right?
Yes.
So there you go. Hey, last time. I'm not going to go through that whole beer whisper thing. You know who I am. Hopefully this will be the last time I come on. I'm going to finish this beer. Bye.